Today, on the line with me, Louis Soto. Louis Soto is a mind and body wellness coach that teaches his clients how to implement the tree of mind, body, spirit in their life. He also is the founder of Elevated Fitness in New Jersey, a wellness and fitness company that is dedicated to the embodiment of an individual's well-being from physical, mental, and spiritual foundations. Elevated Fitness is a one-stop shop that gets your body needs as well as your mind and your spirit. They offer services that embody training, yoga, meditation, spiritual, and nutritional coaching. Welcome, Louis Soto. How are you doing today?
I'm phenomenal, Theo. Thank you so much for having me on the call. Very blessed to be here.
Yeah, you're very welcome. I'm excited. I've been excited to have you on the call. You were on the podcast 2 years ago, I think, when I first started up. We had an episode together, and it's great to have you back on the show.
Happy to be here.
Yeah. So I shared a little bit about what you're doing, but why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey from where you were to where you are today in your personal and professional life as far as how your life has transformed over the years?
I think that the best way to describe my journey is to really talk about the evolution of a person's personal journey to their physical, mental, and spiritual dimension within themselves. When I started off at the age of 16, I went on a quest on really perfecting the best body that I could have. And it all started from an experience that I looked at myself in the mirror and I was not happy with the way my body looked. My stomach was sticking out like a beach ball. I remember my friend at the time told him that I was really displeased and this would be the last time that my body will look like that. And at that young age, I just started to develop the discipline that I needed in the mind to start transforming my body. And from that moment forward, that's when I decided to become a certified personal trainer and help people on their journey to transforming their body in their life.
Yeah, and I'm familiar with that. I think I've shared my story with you and also with the listeners. I've definitely had the fitness in my background as well, so I can totally relate to what you're saying. And mine was like this epiphany story where I was fat, sick, and nearly dead, basically, in college, drunk with a hangover, and I hadn't stepped on a scale in over a year. And so there was a voice inside of my head, get out of bed, weigh yourself, get out of bed, weigh yourself. And I was hungover. I was a night of partying, and I was like, ugh. I got on the scale, and it was like a neon sign, flashing red lights, you're going to die. And wow. 337 pounds, and it said I was 47.5% body fat. I mean, huge numbers, right? And
that's huge.
You would think it's huge, and you would think that my waist alone, I think I was up to a size, I kid you not, a size 48, I think I was at, in my waist. And thinking back on it now, I'm holy crap, I get pissed off if my 36s get too tight now. And sure enough, they do. Every once in a while, they get tight, and that's kind of like a reminder, right? But I remember I went on this journey. I said enough is enough. And I moved away from Philadelphia because I was going to school in Philly, and I moved up to Massachusetts. Long story short, within a year, I lost 128 pounds.
Amazing.
And that was 30 years ago. So back in September, that was my 30th anniversary of keeping 100 pounds off of my body for 30 years.
Wow, that's incredible. My journey, when I looked at myself in the mirror, I just needed to lose 35 pounds. And at the time, I was living with my parents, and I wasn't really educated with proper nutrition. So I took it upon myself to lose the weight by just reducing my caloric intake. And I was eating 2 ham and cheese sandwiches a day. Wonder Bread, ham and cheese, no mayonnaise, water. That means I eliminated. So growing up in a Hispanic household, it was soda, it was fried food, rice and beans, a lot of starches, a lot of sugary drinks, and I stopped playing sports, so that's the reason I put on weight. But I was determined to lose the weight, so I was working out Monday through Sunday, sometimes twice a day, and ham and cheese sandwiches, no mayonnaise, with water. I lost 35 pounds in at least 40 days, which was very drastic, but at the same time, it taught me at a young age that once you put something into your mind, your desire, you're going to accomplish it. Even with limited resources that I had with myself at the time, it's just a testimonial that whatever you want, and when you make a commitment to yourself, you're going to make it happen. The universe is going to correspond with your desire.
Yeah, and that brings up a different point, right? We're talking about the body and nutrition and exercise and these things that there's something more to it, right? So if you look back at the principles, if you break it down into what it was from a way of being, because when we look at, let's say, spiritual principles, it almost always comes down to a way of being about yourself. There's something that you were doing and being and practicing that led you into the transformation and the openness. So the transformation just wasn't about the 35 pounds. It was something in the mind. You became something, right? So what was the solution there? What's the way that it was? Were you not disciplined? Were you not committed? Did you not have integrity? And all of a sudden, all of that shifted? Or what happened that caused the transformation?
Well, look, I think back then when I was young, I wanted to take care of my health because growing up, I had rheumatic fever, and rheumatic fever really affected my heart, and I was in a wheelchair, paralyzed for several months in the hospital. And from the age of 7 to 21, I had to go to the hospital and receive penicillin shots in my leg every month. And that was very scary and hard for a 7-year-old to realize that in order for him to continue to live, he needed this penicillin shot, which I was very grateful. So I wanted to get healthier, right, to just get off the penicillin and really make my heart strong. Now, as far as a mental and spiritual perspective, for me, I believe that I was able to tap into my imagination faculties at the time, because I remember visualizing myself, seeing the body that I wanted to create. And that was really what started me on that journey to start losing the weight. And as I started to develop that imagination faculty and I was able to perfect my body, I became really obsessed with the physical transformation. And that happened because there was low self-esteem, low self-worth, a lot of insecurity within myself. So I was just focusing on what I could see. My body had to look like a statue, and I was really committed on carving the best body that I could have. Now, I did achieve that status, but it came with a huge cost, because achieving that physical transformation, there was confidence attached to that body. And all my self-worth and my low self-esteem, the moment that the body wasn't looking like a statue, then all that will fall down the drain. So that started my journey into learning more about who I am spiritually. And that's when I became a yoga teacher, which then transformed into a meditation, a spiritual teacher as well.
Wow. Totally got that. Yeah.
It's really
amazing
interesting to talk about it.
Yeah, and it's amazing how similar our backgrounds are. Like I said, with my journey, it kind of started, if I think about my spiritual journey, I often say, my spiritual journey didn't start until 2004 or 2005 when I saw The Secret. I saw the movie The Secret. But the reality is it kind of actually started when I was on my physical journey. So it actually started when I was in my early 20s and in college and then going through that whole body transformation. And I went through a similar thing. The body got transformed, went from a size 44. I was down to a size 35 in 1 year. And totally new wardrobe, totally new style. I would be seen with my shirt off. Everything shifted. And the confidence and getting more attention from people and more friends and the notoriety. It was almost a little celebrity-like type of feeling. You get all this notoriety and people know you, who you are. Every time you show up somewhere, hey, see ya, whatever it was. So I totally get it. And when that gets challenged, there's a shadow. There's a dark side or a hero's journey part of that, which is, when is all hell going to break loose? When is there going to be the dark night of the soul? And then that starts to happen. And then you really discover who you are. And then the spiritual journey really does begin after that, I believe, which is after the dark night. Wow. Yeah. I mean, can you relate to that?
Incredible. 100%. You're talking about the dark night of the soul. I have had many dark nights of the soul, especially when I started my spiritual journey. My spiritual journey started when I was 25, and I read The 7 Spiritual Laws of Success by Deepak Chopra. And that really just started me on this awareness that we live with these spiritual laws that govern the universe. And I just wanted to really tap into those laws, the law of your potentiality, the law of giving and receiving. And I believe that the moment you start to broaden your awareness and your perspective on the things that you didn't even know existed, you're going to start to discover new gifts and talents that you never thought were possible, because you're expanding from your limited thinking self, your own perception of who you are. You're breaking out of that limited paradigm into something infinite. So when you believe that the universe has your back, that you can live in a state of flow, easy, least effort, and you affirm it, and you walk into your day with that affirmation, that declaration, you're going to start to notice your mind starting to shift, not only your perception with yourself, but your perception with the world in general. So I think it's a mind shift, it's an evolution of self, but the person must be ready for that new change and transformation to happen within themselves.
Yeah. In my work as a coach, and you're also a coach, it's not just body and fitness. You have the mind, and you have the spirit and yoga. So it's great, and we both have these similar backgrounds, because I was also a trainer, and the training field is what actually got me into the spirituality field. It actually got me into mindset. I think the most perceptive people to spirituality and personal health and development and personal transformation, I think a lot of that does come from the physical fitness community, because you have Coaches, you have sports, especially in professional sports, the coaches, they practice tools. They may not call them spiritual tools. They're just scientifically proven tools that help their performance. They visualize. They realize the win. They see it. They smell the roses when they're on the stage, and they feel the person putting the medal around their neck. And they see themselves shooting the hoops in the basketball. They see themselves with the tennis ball. And whatever it is, they just imagine it. And as they imagine what you imagine most, and if they see themselves winning, and they're always seeing themselves winning, chances are they're going to win.
Exactly.
And a lot of that is it's self-predestined, almost that. So given that, and let's call that mastery, right? Someone is mastering all of those tools. I call that living an extraordinary life, right? So if you have mastered all of the pieces of your internal blueprint, you're living an extraordinary life. But from your perspective, what do you define success as, and what do you think the key components are to living a successful, extraordinary life?
I think the way you value success is having inner success within yourself. Yes, it's great to have outer success, get all your material things, right, a nice car, the home, the big bank account, and that's fine and great. But if you achieve that and you don't have inner success, meaning you're not happy with yourself, you don't love yourself, you don't have peace of mind, you cannot go to sleep peacefully at night, then you don't have success. Because you could have all the money in the world, you could have the nice homes, and if you cannot go to sleep at night at peace and you're paranoid, you have anxiety, you have high blood pressure, you're just a ticking time bomb ready to go off. So I think that there must be a balance, because the more inner success you have, the more outer success you're going to achieve. But it's going to be well balanced, and at the same time, there's going to be much more personal fulfillment in your life. That means you're going to have healthier relationships with the people around you, your friends, your family, your community, your tribe. You're going to have a better relationship with yourself, right? Self-love is really key, because if you don't love yourself, it's hard to love someone else. And at the same time, you're also living your purpose. You're living your dharma. You're able to share your gifts and your talents to the world and be well compensated, and yet at the same time live that structured, balanced, successful life.
Yeah. Well, yeah. So if you were to, I know, there's so much there, right? Even if I look at the practice method, there's 24 tools in there, and that's not all of them. In my mastery version of the practice method, there's another 12 to 24 tools, 48 different techniques and tools. Mm-hmm. So this question is kind of like the next question. It's a limiting question, but I'm just going to preface that it's a limiting question. But scan your mind for a second. If you share with all the listeners any special tool or tip or technique or practice that you do regularly to cultivate that self-awareness, that growth, and the transformation. So what are the tools and tips that you have for your own personal awareness and success?
Well, my tools and tips is, number one, really start a meditation practice, like hands down. Meditation, number one, is going to create better awareness with yourself, your environment, and the world. It's going to tap into your intuition and your psychic ability. You're able to pick up on inklings, on hunches. You're able to trust self more and trust when you hear information and answers from a problem that's been troubling your mind. Meditation is an incredible tool. I mean, you could go on YouTube, right? There's so many ways you could start meditating. I teach meditation lessons. I do it in person. I do it online. But the way I start is every morning I do 15 to 20 minutes of a meditation practice. I do a body scan, and then I go into a meditation practice by using a mantra. A mantra is a word or phrase that you continue to repeat to yourself. So as thoughts come up and they start bombarding you, you go back to that mantra. So you got to have a tool, whether it be a tool, whether you're focusing on your breath, where you're staring into the flame of a candle, or even you're listening to a specific sound or somebody guiding you. There must be a tool that's going to put the mind at rest. The more you meditate, the more you're going to get out of fight and flight. You're going to shift your sympathetic nervous system from high alert to your parasympathetic nervous system that is going to allow you to relax and be at peace. And that's when you're able to tap into your intuition. As you meditate and you ground yourself, you're now taking control of your energy. And when you come out of your meditation, then you're able to respond to the world versus react. So when things start to happen, because whether you take and you pray and you practice yoga and you do Tai Chi, it doesn't mean that you're exempt to the craziness of the world. You're just now attuned with yourself, and then you're able then to respond mindfully and consciously versus somebody that wakes up and goes to their social media or watches the news, and then now they've given away their power even before they're able to start the day. So it's always great to ground yourself, start your day, meditate, pray to a higher power within yourself, and even journal. Journaling is a great practice that will help you to get in touch with your thoughts, and it helps you to get in touch with your consciousness, because every day that we wake up, we have to renew our mind. So you could go to sleep happy and inspired, and then you could wake up the next day feeling sad, feeling bored, feeling depressed, and that happens. But when you have a tool, you get to now recharge, you get to renew your mind, renew your consciousness, and then you could start your day again.
That's amazing. No, absolutely. I am on board 100%. I've been meditating for years. It's been like over a decade now, so I know that you've been meditating for a while. Hey, listen, we are getting to the end. I want to honor our time limit on the call, but I just want to give the last couple of minutes. Do you have anything, a special event coming up, or something that you'd like to let the listeners know in the viewing or listening audience, that something that's coming up, an event, or maybe how to reach out to you, how to get in touch with you if they want to look you up and maybe read your book?
Yeah, so, I mean, you could find me at elevatedfitnessnj.com. If you want to have a discovery call where we talk about your fitness, your wellness journey, I offer a 30-minute complimentary call with me, and you could just email me at elevatedfitnessnj@gmail.com. You could go to my website, and we could set up a call, and we could have a powerful conversation that it's going to shift your mindset into new possibilities and to tap into the best version of who you are.
Awesome. All right,
great,
Coach Louis Soto, thank you so much. I acknowledge you for your time and everything that you're up to in the world, and I look forward to talking to you again.
Nice. Awesome, Theo. Thank you so much. I'm really blessed, and thank you for putting this podcast. You're an extraordinary human being, You have really contributed so much blessings into my life, and I'm just honored and blessed that we were able to share this time today. So have an awesome day, and I love you, brother.
I love it too, Louis. Hey, have a great day.